Alright, how's it going everybody? So in today's video I will be showing you how we can model this here stained glass window frame. This is intended to be a multiple part series, so in part 1 we'll be keeping things nice and simple and focusing on modeling and texturing these here pillars. So in order to more accurately follow along with today's video, you'll want to head over here to Poliigon and get this free texture Plaster 17. I will be including a link in the description where you can get that. We will also be using the Poliigon Material Converter Addon for Blender. I will be including a link in the description for that as well. Do not unzip the converter add-on. You'll just want to download that, head over to Blender, go to Edit, Preferences, find the Add-ons tab, hit Install, locate wherever you've installed that file, select it, hit Install Add-on, then you can come back to this window here, type in Mater in the search bar, that'll pull it up right here. You can check that box, and even hit this, and save preferences. Alright, so let's get started. Okay, so to start, we'll begin with a brand new project. Hit A to select everything, X to delete, Shift A, and we're going to add in a cylinder. And we're going to come down here to the Add Cylinder menu, right? Make sure after you add the cylinder, you don't click off of the cylinder anywhere, otherwise that menu will disappear, which then you could just, delete that cylinder, add a new one, and then, But anyway, once we have this open, we're going to come right up here to Vertices, and we're going to drop that count down to 8. Oops. And come into top view here, and we're going to rotate on the Z and just try to get like these, along the y-axis here. Just try to get these faces nice and flat right there. Doesn't have to be perfect. If you want to dial it in a little bit, you can go into front orthographic view with 1 on the number pad. You hit Z, go to wireframe, and if you see this separation between these two edges, well, we can use that as like a guide. So we can hit R, then Z to rotate on the Z axis, and we can just kind of hold shift and slowly line those up better. It's, it's not, totally necessary, but it can just help. Okay, so we'll bring it up on the Z. We'll scale it down, something like this. Bring it back down so it's nice and flush with that red line there. We can tab into edit mode. We're going to grab this top face and hit E to extrude, whoops, on the Z axis. And just bring it up, I don't know, something like that. Then we'll hit S to scale, bring it in like this, and yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Okay, tab back into object mode, and we're going to hit Shift A and bring in another cylinder, and we're going to come over here again to our Add Cylinder menu, and we're going to return these vertices back up to their original 32. And we'll bring this up. We can scale it down, something like this. Whoops. We'll just get a good view here. There we go, something like that. And I think that's a little too small, so if we need to scale it out to kind of come closer to this edge here, we can. So we don't, have to realign along the Z. We can just hit S to scale and then hold shift and push Z to exclude the Z axis, and then we can just kind of bring it out, something like that. You can go like that far, you can go this far, it's up to you. I think I'm going to take it out like that. Seems pretty good. Tab back into edit mode, grab this top face, and we are going to zoom out a bit here to get a good look. We'll hit G, then Z, and we'll move this face up along the Z. I think I'm going to take mine up about this far right here. And tab back into object mode. We'll hit Shift A, and we're going to bring in a torus. And we'll hit G, then Z, bring that all the way up. S to scale, bring it down, and slide it right over the top of this cylinder here. You can go into, you can hit 7 on the number pad to go into top orthographic view, and if you need to, we can select this big octagon shape down here, and we can hit H to hide, so we can kind of get a better visual of the gap between the inside ring of this torus and the outer edge of that cylinder there, and then we can just kind of scale it in some more. I want it to overlap a little bit. In fact, I'm going to wheel around here. Slide it down a little bit more, and I'm going to scale it in something like that. I think that looks good. Could even go further if you want. This part is totally up to you. Whatever you feel is a good visual. I think I am, in fact, actually going to bring it into that other ring of faces there. I think I like rather than having that, you know, heavy curve going underneath there. I like it to come off of the cylinder and have like a semi-flat shape there, just so it's not so drastic of a curve. It's up to you though, depends on, you know, whether or not you like the look. So once that's all set up in place, we'll hit Shift A, and we're going to bring in another cylinder. Again, back here at the Add Cylinder menu, we're going to return this one back down to 8 vertices. And then, same thing with the first octagon cylinder shape. We'll just kind of rotate it on the Z, line those faces up. Again, you can come down wireframe and front orthographic, and we can just kind of, whoop, just like that, line those edges up. And push G, then Z, we're going to bring it up. I'm going to go back into solid. We can hit Alt-H to hide that little octagon shape down there if you feel he's lonely. And we'll scale this in. Scale it in a little bit more. Bring it down on the Z. Just fit it right in the top there. And we'll scale it. I'm going to hit S to scale again, Shift Z, because I think I'm satisfied with the sizing there on the Z. Just bring it out something like that. Okay, maybe I went a little too far. Okay, Shift or scale, Shift Z. I'm gonna bring mine in just another little point. Yeah, I think that looks a little bit better there. Yeah, I like that. Okay, again, that's entirely preference. None of this part is like dependent necessarily on too much of the sizing here. So in edit mode, we'll grab this top face and E to extrude, bring it up, something like this. And then hit 3 on the number pad, or excuse me, don't hit 3 on the number pad, just hit 3 up at the top, right, to go into face select if you aren't already. And you're going to want to mouse over one of these like short vertical edges right here, hold Alt and left click, and that'll select the ring of faces we've created there. Then you can hit 7 on the number pad to go into top orthographic view. We'll hit E to extrude, then S to scale, and just bring that out. Something like that should be pretty good. I'm not mad at it. We can hit 2 for edge select, right? We're going to zoom in a little bit, holding Alt. We'll left click this inside edge, and it'll grab the edge loop all the way around. Then we're going to hit Control B to bevel, and just kind of pull the mouse away from the edge there. We'll mouse wheel up to add in some segments, and we'll left click to confirm. Something in there. Looking pretty good. Alright, yep, I like it. Okay, tabbing back into object mode, going to Shift A and add in a UV sphere, and then again over here in the Add UV Sphere menu, I'm going to drop this UV sphere segments down to 8. And again, I'm just going to rotate on the Z, get these faces kind of aligned here, can go into front orthographic, wireframe, and just line those up. Something like that's fair enough. Then G, then Z, bring it all the way up. And then before we do any more scaling, we can tab into edit mode, hit 1 for vertice select, we'll go wireframe, and we're just going to want to select, like box select, right? So like hold left click and drag over these, pretty much like the upper half of vertices here. Hit X and delete vertices. Then we can hit Z, go back in solid, tab in object mode here, and then G, Z, bring it down a little bit. This is going to be like kind of a back and forth because we want to obviously scale this in some more. Bring it down. We'll scale just on the Z to kind of give it like more flat saucer kind of shape. Something like that even might be fine. Scale it in a little overall, bring it down. And I think that's good. We're going to overlap those, you know, these in the lower faces of that sphere into the top of this octagon shape here. And then we can tab back into edit mode, push Z, whoops, or hold Z, and then go into wireframe, right? Push 1 for vertice select, and we can grab, don't grab these vertices here, just this, like, the lowest group of vertices right here. And we can hit X and delete vertices, because we don't really need those there. They're overlapping anyway. If we deleted the other ones, though, it would delete this face in between. and then, yeah, we'd have that exposure there, which, I mean, could be corrected by just scaling it in some more, which I might end up doing. We'll see how this looks as we continue. So, back in object mode, we'll hit Shift A and bring in another cylinder, and we're going to leave this one with the 8 vertices. And once again, just rotate it on the Z, you know, get these faces looking good. Whoop. Whoa, whoa, getting turned around here. I'm just going to line those up. Okay, back in solid, bring it up. Scale it in, something like that for now. Yeah, I think I'm gonna scale in this other piece as well. We'll see how this looks once we get this connected here. So we'll scale that in all around, and then we'll scale it on just the Z and get like a nice flat piece. Slap that right on top here. Right there. And then we'll definitely, we can hit S to scale, and then hold Shift, then Z to exclude the Z axis, and just bring it in. Something like that seems good. Yeah, that seems alright. Okay, tab into edit mode. We'll grab this top face here, and then we will E to extrude, bring it up a little bit, something like this, and then we'll hit S to scale, bring that in, something like that. I think that looks pretty good. And, you know, just kind of zoom out from this point. We can kind of just get a good look at it. If we feel like, you know, anything should be resized a bit here, we can do that. Just got to be aware of any kind of space, like gapping that will form as we do so, right? So as I grab these, I'll scale them in. It could, you know, it could form a gap between them. Like if I were to specifically scale, I don't know on what axes, I've seen it happen. It's not doing it right now though, so that's good. Awesome. But yeah, this is all preference. Whatever looks good. I'm going to leave it like this. I think this looks decent. Not bad. So moving on, we're going to start from the bottom here. We'll hit, or, you know, zoom out a little bit because we'll just quick fire through each of our objects and get this part out of the way. Select that bottom octagon piece and hit Control A and apply scale. Then just work your way up doing that to each one of them. Apply scale, grab the torus, Control A, apply scale, apply scale. Hey, that's out of order. Let's grab that one. Apply scale and apply scale. And once again, we can go to the bottom here, tab into edit mode, push 2 for edge select. We'll get a good view of the bottom here, holding Alt and left click this edge loop here. Come up to the top, hold Shift and Alt and left click that edge there, and then we can hold Shift and Alt and left click one of these, you know, back edges here. It doesn't really matter exactly which one. Then just hit Control E, mark seam, and we can grab the main cylinder piece here to tab into edit mode. We can go wireframe, hit 3 for face select, and we can actually get rid of this face. Excuse me. Make sure you don't hit vertice. Hit face. There we go. Then we can come up to the top and do the same thing up here as well. We can just delete that top face. No one's ever going to see those. We can go back into solid, and we don't have to worry about marking the edge around those faces now either. We can just grab this single edge right here on the back side, hit Control E, mark seam. Okay, moving on. I'm pretty sure we can get away with not bothering with doing an unwrap on the torus at all, but for the sake of it, this might be a little difficult with how many, you know, vertices and edges it's got, but you can just kind of go wireframe. You can hide stuff to get out of your way, hold Alt and like left click this inside edge loop right there, and then you can hit Shift and Alt and left click like one of these back edges going around like that, and that should be good enough. Mark seam. I think for the particular texture we're using, it's not really like super dependent on that, but for the sake of practice, that's, I believe, would be one of the best ways of going about unwrapping that sucker there. So we'll move on to this next one, and we can here, we'll go ahead and hide these, get these out of our way. So we're actually going to grab this face here, and we will delete that. We can also grab, if it has it, I'm not sure. Looks like it does. Yeah, we can delete this bottom face of this as well. That's also going to save us one less edge to mark. So we can just grab this top edge here, holding Alt and left click to grab that top outer edge, and then we'll also just hold Shift and Alt and left click this, the lower outer edge there. And then same thing, if you want to make sure that you're viewing the model from behind, you can hit Control, hit 1 on the number pad, and that'll get you the back orthographic view, and we can hold Shift and Alt and left click one of these back edges here. Control E, mark seam. Done deal. Back in object mode, hit Alt H to unhide everything, and then we can grab this sucker here, and this one is super easy. Since we deleted so many faces off of it, we can just hold Alt, left click one of these back edges, Control E, mark seam. Okay, moving on. Now for this one, we'll just hold Alt. Well, I guess we already had it selected. I'm such a goober sometimes. That edge loop was already selected, but like, so you would hold Alt and, just select that if it's not already, and then hold Shift and Alt and left click the bottom edge loop as well. And Control 1 again if you want to make sure you're viewing it from behind, and Control Shift Alt. Did I say Control Alt before? I don't even know. Just Shift Alt. At this point, you should know this with me, right? Shift Alt, and it'll select that, right? Because like holding Alt and left clicking will select an edge, like a loop of either faces or vertices or edges, depending on like where, the one edge that you selected, that you actually left clicked. And then so holding Shift and Alt, the Shift modifier just allows you to add selections to your previous selection or remove them without removing all of the other selections. And then Alt, those two modifiers together allows you to Shift Alt and select an edge loop and add that edge loop to previous selections. You can also hold Shift and Alt and left click to remove an edge loop, right, that from your current selection without ruining, the rest of your selection. So again, Control E, mark seam, and that's a done deal. Now, we can do this in any order. You can start from the top, we can start from the bottom again. I'm going to start at the bottom. So, come over here to our Materials tab, and we're going to find that first texture. I believe it was the Plaster. Yep, Plaster 17. And we'll just go into Material Preview here, and we can load and apply that sucker. Tab into edit mode. There we go. If it would let me get a good view here. A to select everything, U, unwrap, and we can come over here to the UV editing tab and get a better look here. And so, let me see. Material preview. This doesn't look terrible. This texture actually works out pretty nice, but you might have like a texture that isn't going to appreciate this nonsense when it unwraps like this, and if that is the case, I'll show you what we can do about that. So, moused over this window here, you can hit 3 on the number pad to go into face select, and basically, well, we'll want to go back to vertice, but like you're just gonna like try to figure out, like, doesn't matter, just either one of these two faces here. I think I'm gonna work with, one of these two smaller ones maybe though. But just a central face to this island. So like if I mouse over this island and I hit L, it's going to select that whole like island of, connected faces. And so we just want to pick like, I don't know. So hit 1 on the vertice and we can just like select whatever seems like a pretty central face. And so we'll box select these two vertices here, hit S, X, 0. So scale on the X and then hit 0, and it's going to flush those up, align them on the X axes. Do the same thing for these ones over here. Scale X, 0, hit enter, and then we're going to box select these two top ones and do scale Y, 0, and the same for these two bottom ones. Scale Y, 0, and that's going to square it up. And then we'll select, hit 3 to go back to face select. Select this face, and while moused over it, just hit L, and it'll select the rest of that island, but we want to select that face first, because see how it's highlighted differently? That's going to be, it's like our main selection of the island, I guess. I don't know how to explain that, but just trust me. I know what I'm doing. and then once we have that, right click and hit follow active quads, and it's going to square it up nice. Again, with this texture, I don't think, it didn't look like it was, too mad about it. It seemed to actually almost appreciate it, but that's just, prime, it was prime time, it was a good opportunity to kind of throw that out there, so I'm doing it. So grabbing the cylinder, we can do, just hit apply material, tap in edit mode, A to select everything, and we don't even have to unwrap it because it looks like it's already unwrapped, but you know, we put an edge loop there, so we'll go ahead and unwrap it. And then also, as you can see, it even like scaled out the faces for us too, which is nice because the texture did kind of look a little, you know, a little crappy at that current scale. Moving on, let's grab this. We can apply the material, get a good look here. See, it doesn't look too bad. Tab in edit mode, we'll grab everything, and you can see, I mean, you really don't have to worry about it. In fact, actually, if I unwrap it, we might have to, yeah, it might give us this, which again, doesn't look terrible, right? Doesn't look bad. And we can fix that, right? So we can, in fact, actually, this one's going to be easier to fix because one of these central faces right here is already pretty squared up. So we can just select that, hit L, right click, follow active quads, and it's a done deal. So there you go. Easy peasy, right? No fuss, no muss. Okay, selecting the next one, apply material, and you ought to know the drill by now. Hit A to select everything. Let's get a good look here. We'll hit U, unwrap, and let's grab one of these faces here. Grab these two vertices on the side, scale X0, and you could, I mean, I guess box select, but I'm just gonna like individually, you know, select those. Scale X0, scale Y0, and again, scale Y0. 3 for face select, grab that, hit L, right click, follow active quads, and looking good. Okay, grab this one, apply material, we can tab in edit mode, select everything, U to unwrap. Oh no, it almost looks worse now. It was looking good. Oh well. And then we will grab, well, I don't know what's central here. I guess we could just go for this guy. Yeah, central enough. Scale Y0. Grab these, scale Y0, and scale X0. Scale X0. Okay, left click that face, L, right click, follow active quads, and she's looking good. Moving on, and apply material, tab in edit mode, A to select everything, U, unwrap, and one more time. Here we go. Alright, just grab these two, scale Y0, grab these two, scale Y0, scale on the X0, one more time. Right click, follow active quads, and there we go. We can go back into layout mode here, get a good look, and looking pretty good. I'm not mad at it. Awesome. So we can join these pieces together now if you are happy with them. We can grab, I like to, you know, I want all of these pieces to share this bottom octagon piece's origin point. For now anyway, it doesn't really matter. We can always reset the origin. So do this in any order you want. You can just select whatever. Don't listen to me at this point, right? This is all you. Just shift click all of that, hit Control J, and it's joined up. And then we can select that, hit Shift D on the X. We'll bring it over about 3 meters, I think is a good spacing for this. Again, grabbing that first one, Shift D, hit the X key, and move it over 3 meters that way.
Alright, well that's going to be a wrap on this one. I really hope that helps. I hope you've enjoyed, and I hope I'll see you in part 2. But that's going to be enough out of me for today, so thank you very much.